Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mupo and Friends. Our special guest today is a very talented American actress, best known for her roles as Letty Mae Thornton on the HBO horror fantasy series True Blood, Kendra James on the HBO drama series The Newsroom, Indra on the CW science fiction drama series The Hundred, and the upcoming season of American Horror Story. Please welcome ADINA Porter. Hello, ADINA.
Hello,
Oh,
very excited about this. So,
thank you.
Adina, when did you first know you wanted to be an actress, and were you supported by your family?
Um, the funny thing is that I can only remember wanting to be an actor. That's all I've ever wanted to be. Um, I remember once saying that to my parents and my mom saying, that's a really hard job. And so I said, okay, maybe I'll be a teacher. And that lasted for an afternoon. And then I wanted to be an actor. So yeah, my parents did support me very much. They took me to acting classes, dance classes. Um, our the church that we went to, St. Mark's Church in Harlem, the sister church was Salem Methodist Church, and one of the members there was the famous Butterfly McQueen, and she would give acting classes as well as she was in charge of all the pageants, like Christmas pageant, Easter pageant. So my very first acting teacher was Butterfly McQueen.
That's incredible.
And for you youngins, she was in Gone with the Wind.
I had a dance teacher named Butterfly, ironically. Let's talk about your earlier theater credits. You made your Broadway debut in the Roundabout Theater's revival of The Women. What is it like being on Broadway as opposed to working off Broadway?
Great question. Well, I've been lucky enough to work a lot off Broadway. Doing Playwrights Horizon, Manhattan Class Company, and I guess the thing when you're doing off Broadway and off Broadway is that you're working with the playwrights, you're working on new pieces, so you really have a say in the production because you're making it anew, and so there aren't any stage manager notations for you to follow. You are creating those notations, so you're in it from the beginning and making it happen. I am so incredibly lucky that I have had the opportunity to work with Arthur Miller. I was doing the ride down Mount Morgan at New York Theater Workshop, which is like theater camp. And so it was one of his new pieces. And so when you're doing off Broadway, it's mostly new pieces. Everything's from the beginning. You're involved in the process. And when I did The Women on Broadway, it was a revival. It has already been done. It was also a huge cast. So you're not there 24/7. You're able to break things up because they're all little vignettes, as opposed to doing a new play where you're in there from the beginning because you don't know when a new character might come in because everything is so fresh and new. But I had a magnificent time doing The Women and trying to recreate the characters. I remember, and I got some flack for it too, but I don't care. We decided to be true to the period. So, as a Black woman, there were certain roles that I could play and certain roles that would be was historically I would not have been able to play because a dark-skinned woman would not have had that opportunity. Um, so I wanted to be true to what the reality would have been for the period. And I fell down twice on Broadway. Uh, 'cause the vignette beforehand, water had to be carried on stage, and water spilled twice, and then I came out and slipped on my butt. It's live theater, so you get up and you keep on going and you make it work. So every day, acting wise, I am very grateful for having have done theater first, because there's a discipline that you get when you are doing it live. And if I didn't cut my teeth on that first, who knows? I might have been afraid and needed to have 1 take, 2 takes, 3 takes. But I love having started off with being prepared as soon as you start opening up your mouth, because you're live.
Right. So at this point in your life, would you consider doing theater again?
Absolutely. I bought a condo back home in New York. It's in Brooklyn, and I bought it so that A, my children can be bi-coastal and also be New Yorkers, but B, so that I can one day go back to doing theater. So it's not about if, it's about when. And then when I bought it, my agents were like, okay, let's do this. And I came this close to doing a play on Broadway. I'm gonna forget names, but he was the producer who brought me on to the newsroom. He wanted me to do a piece in New York. But then American Horror Story called, and so I was going to do that, and then COVID happened, and I'm very happy to have had American Horror Story waiting in the wings for when we could start work again with COVID, because who knows when we get to go back to live theater. So I made the good gamble, as well as my children are still young. So I need to be able to be home. So when my kids are grown and done and baked, then maybe I can go back to doing more theater.
What was it like? I know you won the Obie Award. You worked with Susie Laurie Park in Venus,
Yes,
and that got
yes.
you your Obie. And then later on, you got nominated for an Emmy. What does that feel like?
Well, it's already a blessing to be able to pay your bills doing what you love.
Right.
That's like a given. But then to be acknowledged by your peers that what you do is good. I mean, it is. It's what words do I want to say? Words amazing are too simple. It is mind blowing. It is affirming. It is. It helps to quiet whatever insecurities or butterflies I have. It is empowering. It is. Let's say this: during COVID, I've been getting my my affairs in order because you have time to, you know. I got life. I mean, I've always had life insurance, but I've also gotten like policies done, and I got my my burial policies taken care of. Not that I think I'm going to die, but it's just like I don't want my children to have to deal with that. I want everything done,
Sure, final expense.
Right.
and because I just don't want them to have to deal with that. My parents passed away um, recently.
Oh,
My mother 2 years ago, my father 4 years ago, and my sisters took care of everything because I'm the only one with kids, and they literally said, "Adina, you take care of the next generation. We'll take care of the last." And they had to go through everything, packing up their belongings, all the hard decisions that I didn't have to deal with anything. They just let me take care of my children and work. And I didn't want my children to have to go through that. And I remember saying to myself, well, if I got the Emmy nomination, I think I'll get like that 2 seconds during the Emmys, like in memorial. So I don't really need a big kind of like a funeral or anything, because of the Emmy nomination, the 2 minutes, during, or the 2 seconds during the, in memorial is enough for me. So I got the basic package.
You're hilarious.
For burial,
it's funny.
because I got an Emmy nomination.
Being prepared, there's nothing better than being prepared. I mean, do you f-
Yes, that's better.
do you feel like having Broadway training prepares you more for television than acting classes?
Absolutely. I all these things are going through my head when we're working on the newsroom, and maybe the newsroom is in my head too, because I just listened to Aaron Sorkin's interview on Fresh Air yesterday. We would all, for rehearsals, and I love the fact that we would rehearse before every scene, and it's rare on television to rehearse. Newsroom, we rehearsed. Um, True Blood, we rehearsed. Um, and he would call us all in, whether you had a line or not, because with the newsroom, it's all about reactions. And the whole place was like a fishbowl because there's glass everywhere. So you never know if you were on camera or not, reflections wise. But rehearsal was so incredibly important. And that's all theater training, you know. So I think I'm going back to the answer. So it's when you have theater training, you already know in your head what your given circumstances are, what you did a few minutes ago beforehand, because you're used to working on the piece chronologically. And on television, you don't have that luxury because of, location. You might be doing the end of the piece first because the location was available then, but you still got to do your homework beforehand. So theater training has that all in place. Acting class, it taught me how to train my body and my craft, so I know what I need to do to get myself to the emotional place that the script requires. I think auditions prepare you for acting even more than acting class, because it's acting with the added pressure. And sometimes acting class doesn't allow you that. And my very last acting class, half of the class was critiquing people who were already working. And I just thought that was a waste of time. So I think, and it's like everything else, it's what kind of class. So if it's all about just feeding the acting teacher's ego, then I think it's better to audition. I audition all the time. Well, it's harder now with COVID, but that way you are preparing for the role. You are training yourself for what the director wants. It's about making adjustments. And sometimes you don't necessarily get to do that in acting class. But like it's like everything. Not all acting classes are equal. Did I answer the question? I can sometimes go off on tangent.
Yes, you did.
No, you did. You
Okay,
did,
cool.
absolutely. And that and you, a lot. You still have the same agent from college, is that true?
That's
How
true.
did you manage in this industry? Because people leave, you know, who they start with usually. How did you manage to forge such a lasting relationship?
Well, let's see. I guess it's two things. It's they're working for me, you know. So don't if it's working, why? What's the expression? If it works,
If
don't
it's not
fix
broke,
it.
don't. Yeah, if it's not broke,
That if it's
don't
not
fix
broke, don't
it.
fix it. And then I've also have experience with other friends, and I've kind of seen their experience that you go, oh, okay, and I got this chance. I want to go to the big agency now. And maybe the big agency might be more about money than about your career. And so I thought, well, let me stick with people who stuck with me when I wasn't making them a lot of money. And I like that. And my husband passed away 7 years ago. And I have formed this relationship with, you know, so they have seen me. They've seen me through the first husband. They've seen me through so many things, and have stuck by me. I like not having to re-educate people about what's going on in my life, and they have my back. They've had my back for all these years. So I just I appreciate that. So I like the safety. They, like, for example, with my first husband, who lived in Senegal, because he was a journalist. So he lived in Senegal for many years, and I would go off to visit him. Silly me, I would go to visit him during pilot season, because that was close to around our birthdays. And that kind of took me out of pilot season. But my agents never said, stay, it's pilot season. They were like, it's your husband and you want to go see them. So for the longest time, they thought about my soul and my family life before their bottom line. So I guess I appreciate the long haul, and so that's why I have stuck with them.
That's awesome. You're loyal. That's almost like an
Loyalty.
Italian. So you know, it's
Loyalty and integrity.
that's what it's about. Now,
Thank you.
okay, so
But on their end as well. On their end as well.
Oh, so true.
So I you know, I appreciate that.
you're truly blessed. That's awesome.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
All right. So now this is my favorite part. Let's talk about the 100.
Okay.
What was the coming to the end of the 100 like?
You know, I don't mean to continue to repeat myself, but so when I got the 100, I found out about the 100 on the last day of filming of the newsroom, and I had to leave. Like they said, you know, if you want this job, you're going to leave to go to Vancouver, like in 2 days' time. And the True Blood was over, the newsroom was over. I just loved knowing that, okay, I have another reoccurring job. Who knew it was going to be what it turned out to be? And then when I took the job and I landed in Vancouver, it was my first time coming to Vancouver, and my husband had passed away the year before. I remember being in the hotel room and going, oh, wow, I can cry and not freak anyone out. So when I took this job of becoming Indra and the 100, it became this place where I could cry and not upset anyone. I could, so many times when I was filming that show, I was like, if it gave me permission to become this badass in my life, becoming Indra. And I had to learn how to become this badass in my life because I all of a sudden became a single mom. I had to let go of my best friend. So figuring out being a single mom and Indra kind of happened, was the same path. So the end of the 100 was, wow, I've been able to do this. I've been able to raise my children. I've been able to discover being single again. So the end of the 100 was also like the end of not the end, because I continued to develop, but so much of Indra's journey was also ADINA's journey of, yes, you can do this, yes, you can do this, yes, you can do this. So do this meaning raise my children on my own. I was not planning on being a single mom. So saying goodbye to Indra was also saying goodbye to this platform, this home, this journey that allowed me to become who I'm meant to be. A single woman raising two children, blowing the doors off of acting because it's no longer about, because when my husband died, it was like, well, I can't have that fantasy anymore. So let's go back to the original fantasy of being an actor. So all of that was wrapped up in saying goodbye to Indra. So it was, in a way, a very, in one way, a very emotional goodbye, but it was also, yep, Indra has proven to me that I can handle this. So it was, in the beginning, it was balancing. I've been lucky enough to be able to do True Blood and Newsroom at the same time. And towards the end of the 100, it was doing Indra and many different seasons of American Horror Story at the same time. So it was, and it was the beginning of COVID. So it was, we don't have the luxury of saying goodbye in a meaningful way because we're losing the light. The world is freaking out. We got to get this in the can because we've got an air date. So that was the end of the 100. No goodbye party. No, it it was more of an intimate, quick hug, because it was before we knew we couldn't hug anymore. It was just beginning. It was like, it was March 13th, and the world shut down like March 15th.
So,
Mm.
speaking
Yeah,
about the 100, I
yeah,
heard that you shadowed the 100 director Ian Samuel. Are
yes, yes.
you have an interest in directing? Are we going to be seeing you direct anytime soon?
Who knows? I don't know, because I did it because I have a relationship with everyone there, because I was on the show for 6 years. And did I say I missed the 100?
Yeah, I missed the
Did
100. I'm
I
lost.
missed the 100? I had such a good time with that show. I mean, I have a good shot time with every show. Um, but uh,
That should
I
be for COVID. You guys were prepared.
hmm?
You were prepared for COVID and you didn't even know it.
Yeah. Um, but when I was shadowing, I learned so much, and uh, I also missed uh, being in front of the camera. So I was watching people, and I go, "Ooh, I would make this choice, or I make that choice." So I still am itching to be in front of the camera. Um, but it was such a wonderful opportunity to learn. And I want longevity in this business. So if roles come along that I don't like as much, then I would love to be able to direct. And if the 100 sequel or prequel gets picked up, because I have a relationship there, I might be able to um, to go back and shadow again and maybe direct. Also, the 100, if you're going to pick a show to direct, because of the action as well as the drama, you get so much experience. Because if you do another kind of a procedural show, you don't have the opportunity to know what you need to do for the combat scenes, the fighting scenes. So it because of the landscape of it, it was it was an opportunity that I just could not uh, let go. And also being up in um, Vancouver is where I'm away from my children, and I don't have to be a mom, and I get to go out to dinner and hang out with, well, when we were able to go out to restaurants and stuff. So I loved being up in Vancouver and going out to my favorite restaurants. And when you're directing, you have to be there all the time. So I had a fabulous time directing or shadowing.
Awesome.
It gives you
My
a
newsroom
well-rounded,
cup.
ooh,
You see it? Newsroom.
yes,
Yeah.
Nice,
Hmm.
nice.
gives you a well-rounded experience of both, of all aspects of the business, being able to
Yes.
see and experience all sides of it. What
Hmm.
do you feel is your greatest strength when you're filming?
Try not to censor myself. Um, I guess I'll just say that I'm prepared. That's so. I know my words backwards and forwards. I just always do. So that because I know my shit, um, I can allow myself to take a risk and be there in the moment. If you don't know the words, it doesn't give you permission to not think about the words and just kind of be there and go with it, to be present and take risk. So, but if you do that beforehand, if you know the words backwards and forwards, and I'm going to have to say be professional in that way, then you can allow yourself to take risks, to play, and then the people behind the camera can trust that, okay, we don't have to waste our time doing 2, 3, 4, 5 takes so you can finally figure out what the words are. This woman is professional. She's come prepared. She's been running lines with her fellow actors beforehand. So we're going to get this done in 1, 2 takes, or if it has fight choreography with it, 3 takes. It's going to cost us less money because she's come prepared. So I guess my greatest strength is that I come prepared.
Awesome. So
Awesome.
your role was such a powerful badass woman in The 100, and I know you do your own stunts. When you fought Hedda, how long did you train for that particular scene? Because it was so amazing. And then the next question is going to be like about the costumes and the makeup, because you guys were bleeding. It was just like, did you have to break and then, you know, let me get the blood coming down? Like it was, I was like, I was ready to come through the screen and just.
Well, let's be fair. I do as much of my own stunts as I possibly can, but we also had an amazing stunt coordinator, and I had stunt doubles. And the great thing is that I started out with, let's see, Debbie was it Debbie? I forgot Deb, to find out the names. I started out with one stunt double, and then, after a couple of years, she retired and her daughter took over as my stunt double. And I love the fact that my stunt double got younger, and and the stunts got bigger, and I had to so that fight I did many of the stunts, but to be fair, I also had a stunt double who makes me look magnificent. And there was an accident in the beginning too, so some of the blood on JR was real.
Wow.
He had to get stitches, like right here. But he did not let that stop him, and we finished the whole sequence. And then they took him to the hospital and he got stitches. But I did yoga and stretching before this interview today. I got to do it, to keep the body limber. And you start doing it before you start filming on the 100, because you know that there will be fight choreography coming up. You don't know when, but your body has to be ready. So you have to always stay limber. And because I was working with Marie, now she does your stunts. I just always wanted to be prepared and to keep up with her. So you just have to work out, stretch, yoga, so that you can so that your mind, so that I can give myself permission to be as good as I can possibly be.
That's awesome. Yoga is the best. I love
Isn't
yoga. Do you
it, though?
meditate as well?
No, I breathe, but I it's a discipline that I need to do more of, but I don't that's a discipline that I need to work more on. What I do though is facial yoga, and ladies, it's amazing. So it's a way to, because there's so many muscles in your face. So it's a way to, I did that before seeing you both today too, because you see the results instantly. And part of it is that after each mudra, you have to just close your eyes and breathe. So it's a way for me to slowly build up to meditating. And it's 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 a way to kind of prepare your face to look good even before you put makeup on it. So I am slowly trying to practice meditation, and my way in is yoga, facial yoga, and all of that has breathing in it and meditating in it. And and I started doing listening to meditation to help myself with sleeping because of how stressful time is now with the elections, with COVID. I grind my teeth. So all these things I'm doing to be healthier, as well as my children being a teenager and a preteen, 13 and 10. So I am slowly meditating. And the one woman I was listening to about meditating, she's like, she would say, I guess, that I am meditating and stop the judgment because I don't sit for, 20 minutes a day and meditate. No, I don't do that. But every day there will be at least 30 seconds that I stop and breathe. And sometimes it's for 5 minutes of 30 seconds. So enough judgments about it, I guess. Yeah, I do meditate. I'm just working harder at becoming better at it.
Well, you actually do when you're breathing. Breathing is a form of meditation. I want to get to True Blood and your character
Okay.
as Letty Mae Thornton. What was working with the other actors on that set like? They're very diverse cast.
Yes. Oh, I love True Blood, and I miss True Blood too. Well, what is it about True Blood? There is, I still stay in touch with many of the True Blood family, whether it is Stephen Moyer. No, I'm sorry. Chris Bauer. Why did I say Stephen Moyer? Chris Bauer, because we would go hiking together and talk about acting and family and life. And so there's that. There's one of the camera operators who's also the director, and then I worked with him as a camera operator on American Horror Story. He would do an annual party, and then he did an annual Zoom party this year, so we all got to see each other on Zoom. So, and I go to his wife as a facialist. So there's lots of people who are True Blood people that I still connect with, whether it's via text or email or phone calls. There's the magnificent writing and storyline in front of it all. There's seeing all those gorgeous, cute men all over the place in their, shirtless bodies. There's being part of a show that so many people have emotional attachments with, There's working with Rutina, another theater actress as well. So, and we try to, we like being able to do things in one take, just kind of coming in prepared and knocking it out in one take, because Why? Maybe we got a bit into a reputation of going, well, the ADs would be like, well, we don't have to allocate that much time because, you know, they're going to come in and do it like that. So we heard that that's what they were doing. So that we felt like we wanted to keep up that reputation. So it was like, well, let's just keep that going.
One take actors.
Yeah.
You can, that's because you're talented.
As well as we can play again, you know, with each other, and we both would be exercising our demons, you know. So whatever family drama I came with, whatever family drama she came with, we both had the safe place, kind of like, you know, paid therapy, or it's like, you know, we're going to exercise this out and become better human beings afterwards. So yeah, that was what True Blood was. You know, we started off True Blood, and then the writer's strike happened, and so then we weren't working. And I remember my hair looked one way, and I remember my son was very, very young, and I'm bathing him, and I remember saying the words, "Don't splash mommy's hair." And then I thought, I heard myself saying that. I was like, are you crazy? So then I shaved my head. Because back in the day at theater in New York, I would wear my hair really close like this and just shave it and save money by just, you know, shaving my head myself. And so then when the writer's strike ended and we went back to work, I had to get a wig because I auditioned with the show with one hair, and I did not want them to go like, well, you look this way, so now we have to change your look. And Lenny May would never have the guts to have shaved her head. So that's the started the whole kind of wig world that Lenny May had, and it said so much about the character. You know, Lenny May was only supposed to be in 8 episodes and then die, but Alan Ball very much appreciated what I did with the character, and so she ended up being on the show for all 7 seasons.
What is your process for creating the character? How do you break down your script and work with the director or the writer and then create your character?
Well, with Lenny May, Alan Ball said that, you know, she was the worst mother in the world. I remember during that time of the writer's strike, I was reading the book The Boy Named It, which was a real life story of a young man who was in the foster care system and had a monster of a mother. And so I wanted to kind of get into the head of a person who takes out their insecurities on a child, which is a very cowardly thing to do. So I read that book, and that kind of gave me some background into the head and some mindset of someone who child abuse. When I read a script, I always read the script from beginning to end to kind of find out what's going on. That's my theater training background, right? You don't ever want to just kind of go to your scenes, because you got to know what's happening in the entire script. We would do table reads too with True Blood as well. And I've always been a person who never really kind of got the sense of what's happening until I heard everyone reading their parts and kind of figuring out what the arc is of the entire show. I never write my notes in pen. I've always write it in pencil. I don't know, it's just the way I was trained. Um, um, Always carry around the same, the script. Once iPads became common, I would have them, but I like the paper script. I just like the paper script because you can write your notes. I guess you can write your notes with an iPad and a stylus, but I like the texture of a pen in my hand, and I like writing where I think, like, what the character is thinking on the back side of my script. So my scripts will look like a journal too, because I'm writing freehand, and there's a lot of power in the physically writing your thoughts down with a pen and paper.
Definitely.
Yeah. So my scripts are journals as well, and then I shred them.
Okay.
That's beautiful. My scripts are journals. I love that.
You had a, you were great. We were actually very great in your recurring role as I'm going to cut that for a second. Sorry about that.
Okay.
So you were great in the recurring role as Town Sheriff Susan Peterkin in The Outer Banks. What was it like working with Charles Heston, Chip? Bring a little natural to the scene, or what?
Well, he caught me because he's I remember like him saying like, what's your first name, in rehearsal, and I didn't remember what my first name was. I just remember Sheriff Peterkin. I didn't remember what his first name was. And then someone had to say Susan, and I was like, oh, I forgot that part. Oh, he caught me. And I was a fan of what's the show he was on, the country music show. Yeah. So I was a fan about that, but I was also, my daughter was a big fan of Jessie. So I had to fan out a little bit, and it wasn't until I was dead that I told him about all the things that I was a fangirl about. You got to do your homework. You got and be prepared so that when you're working with someone like him, you can rise to the occasion. And I did. And it could work for the character, because the character was intimidated by him because of him being the big guy in town, and so I could use it. I could use it being intimidated by him. But I have the rule of law is more important than the rich guy in town, and so I could use my intimidation.
Well,
and he's cute. I'm always intimidated by cute guys too, so use it.
He's incredibly nice. You had an incredible dying scene in that.
Oh.
Okay, so tell us, as an actress, how did you build to that moment? Because I was crying because you were so good to John B. So it was just,
Oh, I don't know. I guess I've died a lot on camera, so I had a lot to pull from. Let's see, I've died of gunshot wounds on Outer Banks, on New York NYPD Blue. I've died of a heroin overdose on Law and Order Special Victims Unit. I've died of poisoning with underground. Yeah, I've died a lot. You just one of the writers on the Outer Banks also either was an EMT worker or drove around with EMT workers. So he wrote that death scene, and he was very particular about what happens to the breath when you were dying solely from a gunshot wound. So he was able to give me specific medical direction about what happens to the body and what happens to the breath.
It looks so real.
So
It really did.
I was lucky, yeah, by having he wrote it because he unfortunately had experienced it, and he wanted to be true to it. Oh, I'm sorry, my camera's moving because I had to move my leg.
Okay, you're a little perfect.
Yeah, incredible training and prep for that. That's awesome that you had that in-depth real life training from somebody in the field. I wanted to ask you, when you were working simultaneously on the Outer Banks and the morning show, did you ever get your dialogue confused?
Not on the morning show and Outer Banks, but on with the 100 and what show was it? The 100 and which one? Because I'm sorry, I don't remember which one. I remember looking at a script because I would read scripts like on the airplane flying to the location. And I remember one time, and it was on an iPad, so that I was able to, I had read the script beforehand, and now it was time to memorize lines. So with the iPad, you can put in your search the character's name and then pull it up. So I remember putting in the character's name and the script saying, no search found or something, or no item found. I was like, no, I'm in the script. And I had to do it a couple of times until I realized that's the wrong character. So it I don't remember it, but it could have been like, and someone, because I had Indra and Kendra, which was like, Indra was the 100 and Kendra was the newsroom, and there was Lenny May and Pearly May, with True Blood and Underground. So it was like one of those confusing things, and afterwards, I was like, these are champagne problems.
Of all the different shows you've been in, which role in your career do you feel is the most challenging, and why?
The most challenging, I'm going to say, was so far right now was the newsroom. No, not the newsroom. The morning show. There you go. Champagne problems confusing my news shows, and I'll tell you why. The morning show was an offer, and so when you audition for a role and you get it, you know what the director wants because you have earned it with the audition and the callback. When you get an offer, for me, I had to, my insecure self said, "Ooh, did I earn this?" Well, yeah, bitch, Adina, insecure Adina, you earned it. For the how many years have you been working on this in this industry? But insecure me was like, ooh, they're gonna hire me, and they're gonna realize one set that you don't really belong, you're an imposter. So I had to quiet that voice. So even and I just finished working with Mimi Leader on the leftovers. So she was praising me when I came on set, and so happy to work with me again. And there were a lot of crew people who were like, "You were so great in the leftovers," but my insecure self said, "No, I don't know what I'm doing." So I had to fight that insecure self, and that's why it was more challenging, because of me fighting my demons. And the first time on set, and because I didn't get the whole script too, because everything was secretive, I only had my scenes. So when I came in for that role, I had in my mind what the character was going to be. And I thought, because of who was the cast, that it was like a romantic comedy. And so in my head, I was like, okay, I'm in bed, so there's gonna be curlers in my hair, because I'm a Black girl, and if you want my hair to be like straight and like have a bounce in it in the daytime, I'm gonna be wearing curlers at nighttime. So I had in my head curlers, and I had like comfortable pajamas. That is not how they saw the character. So it took 4 hours to like figure out what my hair is gonna look like. I had to shave because my underarms was not prepared for the Teddy nightgown they put me on. So you want to talk about fighting your demons? It's a lot easier for me to play roles where I am down and out than looking gorgeous because of my own insecurities. So this lawyer was looking gorgeous. And I had to, fight that I actually could be beautiful. But I fought my demons, and I allowed myself to be this fierce, exquisitely put together, high-powered lawyer. But I'll tell you a little story. So I did it, and then I don't know what happened, but I had to reshoot that bedroom scene.
Oh boy.
And when they called me back to say we're going to reshoot, in my head it was, they found out you're an imposter. They're giving you a second chance. All those insecurities came to mind. None of that was true. Somehow or another, something happened with the film, and so they had to reshoot it. I did not know that something happened with the film until I'm in the makeup chair getting made up. So we were redoing this again, not because of me, but because of technical difficulties. And so I had a chance, And it's so rare in life that you have a chance to redo something. And this time, I knocked it out of the park with 2 takes. And I am so appreciative that I had an opportunity to fight my demons of, you're not pretty, Adina. You're not a high-powered, lawyer. Yes, I can play a high-powered lawyer. Yes, I can look gorgeous. And I'm very appreciative to have the opportunity to knock out those demons. But the demons will come back again. And I was nervous, working opposite Jennifer Aniston, even though she was the sweetest woman in the world. But I was like, ooh, she's a star. Well, Adina, come on. You're a star too. You belong here.
Amen.
Amen.
But it takes it's insecurities. But the only good thing about my insecurities is that when I play people who are insecure, I'm not lying. And I feel the fear and I do it anyway. And the insecurities never go away. It's part of being human. You just gotta prepare yourself and trust yourself. So I am forever grateful for having them, because if you don't have them, you might have to self-medicate to be able to do it. And I'm glad I don't have to self-medicate. I have to do the homework of going and being well prepared. So that was my most challenging role.
Well, was there ever a time in your life where you felt unsure of taking a role?
No, because if they're offering me a role, I'm taking it, and I might be terrified, but I'm going to take it, and I'm going to rise to the occasion. I mean, the first year of my husband being gone and being a single mom, I was terrified, but I can't return him. So I just gotta breathe through it, drink a lot of water. I've made it a rule to myself that I don't like take a drink on a day that I am feeling insecure or sad, because I don't ever want to I don't want to know, oh, this feels, I was feeling insecure and sad, but now I'm feeling happy, and maybe it might be that drink. So I don't ever take a drink or anything else on days when I'm sad, because I just don't want to, I don't want to build that bridge, or that crutch. But yeah, I'm always nervous, and I don't think I'm the only one. I think even, other people have talked about feeling like this is going to be my last job, and everyone's going to find out I'm a fraud. It's an insecurity. You breathe through it. You continue to breathe through it. It's life.
Have you ever done voiceovers for animated shows? I could see you being a character in one of those.
Yes, I did a Disney ride, a voiceover for that. I've had 2 commercials that were voiceover work for that. I have a voiceover work for a video game, and I would love to do more voiceover work.
All right, consider it done.
Okay.
We're in the process of doing that, so
Yay.
yeah, we'll be hitting you up for sure.
Yay.
Find yourself staying in character, when you come home? Because I think I would.
Well, Indra's walk has moved into Adina's life.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
yeah, Adina now has a strut because of Indra. And Isaiah Washington pointed that out. It's like, ooh, cute. But no, I don't. I don't. I don't. I will. I'll leave home early to make sure I can get into character on the drive there. But I don't. I try to I try to keep family life and my children do not need to be parented by Indra or Lenny May or Sarah Peterkin. No, 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 no.
Indra,
They need mom.
Indra would be cool.
I don't know.
A lot of
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
She's
know.
harassed. Yeah.
What has been your proudest moment in your career? I know you've had a lot of great moments, but which is the one that you're the most proud of?
Well, my first thought was the Emmy nomination. I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud that I was able to fight my demons for that last story I told you about with the morning show. But yeah, I guess I'm proud of getting an oldie. I'm proud that I was able to do a one-woman show based on Toni Morrison's novel, The Bluest Eye, off Broadway, and met with Toni Morrison, performed it in her living room. She gave us permission to do a limited run off Broadway. I'm very, very proud of that. I'm proud of impressing Aaron Sorkin in his kitchen with my late husband. My late husband's favorite movie was A Few Good Men, and Aaron Sorkin would invite the cast over to his house to watch the newsroom together. And so we were all over there, and my husband and Aaron Sorkin were in the kitchen talking about the newsroom. No, sorry, talking about A Few Good Men. And I came in and before my husband dated me, he dated this lawyer who spoke 3 languages and who was younger. And whenever I would get to do something, I would go, I was a little intimidated by, her because she's a lawyer and spoke 3 languages, and I only play a lawyer on television and I don't speak 1 language. So I remember whenever I would be able to get my husband into places and stuff, I would say things like, "She couldn't do this for you. She couldn't get you in here," and I remember saying that to him there. But we were talking, my husband and Aaron Sorkin and I, and I was telling Aaron Sorkin about working with Arthur Miller. And that impressed Aaron Sorkin. It was really nice to be able to impress Aaron Sorkin with Arthur Miller. So, I've had quite a journey being able to work with some icons. So, yeah, are those enough proud moments for you?
Yes, I must remind you.
I think
You've impressed
yeah,
the world.
yeah, and
You've impressed the world. You really
thank you.
have.
I think others will come in the future.
Well,
It ain't over. It ain't over.
As a working mom, how do the long hours on set affect you raising your children? And like, if they were to follow in your footsteps, would that be okay?
Only if they go through training beforehand.
Okay.
Because my children are of the age of the generation where they think, okay, well, I can just, my daughter has asked for a YouTube channel. No. You can. No. They don't. Sorry, they don't have social media accounts. So they have to have a life first. But I don't want them. been in the business too long, and I, I already get enough too much my self-esteem from work or from what other people say about me. I just think it's incredibly dangerous for someone who's just learning who they are to look outside for self-esteem. So I don't want that to happen with my children. I set things up so with my au pair so that I don't have to think about childcare when I'm at work. But when my husband was alive, he was a stay-at-home dad. I would never bring my phone to SAT because I didn't have to. I do now. I do have to decide about what roles to take, so I can't. I've said no to doing shows on Broadway. I've said no to doing theater because it would mean like taking my children out of school and taking them with me. It might be different now with COVID since everyone's learning online. So yeah, I've made decisions about what roles I've taken because of my children.
It's an incredibly beautiful thing to be such a strong and powerful mom. I was raised by a single mom, so I really relate to what you're saying and the passion that you have for raising your kids. It's commendable.
Thank you.
You must get noticed a lot when you're out and about in your daily life. And although it can be, you're grateful for it, how do you handle it? Does it ever get hectic or a concern for safety?
Well, maybe because the roles I play, I've never had a problem with safety.
They might be
people are
afraid of you.
enthusiastic. Yeah, exactly. People are enthusiastic, and so I just say thank you very much for my work. Thank you for following my work. But no, I've never had a problem with with safety. I'm saying thank you, and I'm grateful. And I think people that they're appreciative of the work that I do and not who I am. I think sometimes these days people can kind of mix up fame and working, and so I like when people are saying nice things about me. I think that they're saying nice things about my work, and not that they've seen me on a screen, because people sometimes can do incredibly weird things just so they can be on a screen, and I don't want to be part of that culture. I think so when someone says something to me, I say thank you for your support. Thank you for enjoying my work.
So we're going to ask you a few questions. We hear that you're a real buff on current events.
Okay.
And we're wondering, what are your thoughts on electric powered vehicles and how energy choices today will affect your children's future?
Well, I appreciate all the new jobs that can be created by the new technology and carbon, reducing our carbon input. I've spent time in West Africa where my father was raised, Sierra Leone, and I know beaches that have, watching plastic containers being come along shore, and we have technology, we have the power if we allow ourselves to think outside the box, to invent things that, necessity being the mother of invention. So I look forward to solar energy and wind turbines, and people being able to sell whatever power they have onto the grid. because of solar energy. So yeah, come on, ingenuity. I look forward to that, and I do not have an electric vehicle. My neighbor down the street does. It was not that difficult for him to install a, a line, and I see his car plugged in. So it's all doable. My block, we have block parties here. So many of my neighbors are putting up solar panels, on their rooftops. I loved in Vancouver all the gardens on the rooftops because of how it cleans the air. So, yeah, let's open up our minds to all these different possibilities.
So agree.
All right. So I've been dying to ask this question. If you were the
Okay.
president of the United States of America, what would your focus be on?
Yes. Homelessness. Homelessness.
I love you.
Amen.
This is a blessing. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
This, as well as well as the working poor, so many people believe that if you're homeless, that means you're not working. No, you could be working and not being able to afford where you live, and it's a disgrace.
I agree. That's
So it has to be. We have to think of it like polio, and eradicate it.
I agree. Now, being I consider you a New Yorker, even though you're in LA
Yes.
now, but to me you're a New Yorker.
But I have a place in New York. I'm bicoastal. I'm bicoastal.
Okay. So what is your favorite season in New York City?
Well, the leaves changing, are exquisite. But then, when it's those hot days, and everybody's hanging out, and people are roller skating in the park. I guess it's the transitions, though. It's the transitions from winter to spring, because everyone's like excited because like here it comes, when we can hang out outside and put away our winter coats, and so I miss the transition weather-wise. So and I love the leaves changing and going for drives. When I was a kid, we would go for drives, upstate New York, and apple picking, and so I guess from summer to fall, that transition.
You just took me on a journey. It's so beautiful. It is. I'm listening to you and feeling it.
You know what? I'm trying to get Holly to move to the East Coast so we could get a TV studio right in Newark, in the city, Ironbound city. And she's like, oh no, LA.
I'll travel though. I will travel.
There you go.
ADINA, before we go, I'd like to end with some fun 3 fill in the blank statements. So I'm going to start the statement and you finish it. Life
Okay.
is. Life is.
Life is an adventure.
Being an artist.
Oh, good. Life is an adventure.
Being an artist is.
A privilege.
My mantra I live by.
The mantra I live by. Don't be afraid to apologize. It's not a sign of weakness. We all can get better.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Adina Porter. You've been it's been an incredible pleasure having you. And personally, I think you are a beautiful soul. You shine bright from the inside. And I just talking to you and you being here, I can feel your passion for life as an artist, as a mother, as a human being on this planet. It is just such a pleasure to meet you and to have you on this earth in this world. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. What a
Thank you.
kind words. Thank you very, very much. Thank you.
Heartfelt.
And I wish you great success, ladies, in all your endeavors.
I have a
Thank you.
you're going to be working with us. Trust me.
Sounds lovely.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us on Mupo and Friends. This has been myself, Holly Lombardi, with our host, Michele Mupo, and our very special guest, Adina Porter. Don't forget to be on the lookout for her in the upcoming season of American Horror Story. And until then, we are over and out.